See, there he is again, right in my way. Yeah. Right? Oh, what? What? Yeah, no, I'm filming you. Yeah, this ain't a Diddy party. Alright, anyways, listen, peoples. We're gonna talk about fear today, I think. And, I've never really been into, scary movies, growing up. I've liked a lot of movies out there. The most recent movie that I just love is a Korean movie called The Witch. Oh my god, totally awesome. But let's see here. Scary movies have never been my thing. Yeah, you want to go outside? Probably not. Yeah, you're gonna stand at the door, and not move, huh? Yeah, you were big talk earlier. No. Okay. Um, let's see here. And one of the reasons that scary movies have never really gotten to me is because I can see the movie magic, right? And so the movie magic is the following, right? Let's take Superman for example. Superman is able to like fly in the opposite orbit of the Earth and like make the Earth spin backwards, and therefore reversing time itself. Like Superman is powerful enough to reverse fucking time because he's having a tantrum, right? But what if a plane's falling out of the sky? What is a plane? A plane is like a tuna can. Like you guys are flying around in tuna cans because it's just more economical than like having a plane that would protect you if you fell. Um, you fly like but what happens when Superman is what happens when a plane is falling out of the sky? Superman goes and he struggles to lift this plane. Oh, I'm struggling. Like the man who can reverse fucking time. I'm struggling. And why are all of you guys fooled? All you guys are fooled because of the music and the camera work, right? And I would just look at scary movies and I'd be like, psh, whatever. Like, I'm not fooled by the music and the camera work. Like, give me something that's real scary, right? Um, like one movie that I liked recently, a scary movie, and I watched this with my wife when she was alive. She liked it too. It was 28 Days Later. That was fun, right? There was no like supernatural like I'm the devil type shit going down. Um, but yeah, no, it was like there's this virus that happens. It's more of a natural scary movie. Um, but for me, it's like what what is fear, right? Um, Now I thought of this. Yeah, I know. I thought of this one time. I was like, "Oh, this is cool. Maybe I can turn this into a story." Because I've been writing a bunch of stories lately. I'm working on one right now. I don't know why I'm talking to you. Go get him. Go. Um, but like, I was like, this is a cool idea of fear. I think. Um, but I'll put it up to you guys. What do you guys think? So, fear, I think, is personal damnation. right? And when I say that, I speak subjectively because what damnation is to one person is, different to another. Um, if you're a clean freak, right, then dirtiness is hell, right? Oh my God, it's dirt, it's dirt, ah, dirt, ah. Um, but like, this all gets kind of simple, but freaky, I think, because it's like we all like bravery. We do. And why do we like bravery? Well, if you love someone, then you gotta be brave, right? Um, sometimes. Um, the coward doesn't love anyone, we could say. What the fuck am I talking about? I'm talking about fear. And, right there. So, yeah, no, so that would be a fearful moment. The moment that you personally look up to bravery in your voice and in your mind, maybe in your heart, but like the moment comes and you're not the person you thought you were. And so you damn yourself. Ah! Right? I mean, this is an interesting thought of fear, right? Because again, it's all subjective. So there's a lot of room for drama and comedy. Ah! um, Arnold Schwarzenegger shooting the devil with a gun, right? I recently learned about this one guy called Mike Menser, right? And Mike Menser was going through a struggle, right? He was struggling with the establishment. And, he was trying to get men to live healthy lives, right? But the establishment doesn't want that, right? Obviously. Um, Oh shit, I'm still recording. I was channeling just now. Okay, what are we talking about? We're talking about fear. Um, you know, my father, I love my father. I do. Um, but in many ways, my father, I think, has a lot of fear. Um, that's one of his one struggles, and I think it's cute. I think it's real cute because his grandmother was a full-blooded Apache, and I've noticed a lot of his behaviorisms in other Apaches that I've seen. And then you learn about the story of the Apaches. The Apaches started out in Dakota, they're like, sunshine in Dakota, la 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 la, whatever. But then the Comanches come on war horses, and the Apaches get chased all the way down to New Mexico and Arizona and northern Mexico, where they are now. And like my dad can get so angry. Like, yeah, just he can get so fucking angry. And every time I see it, it's just like, oh my god, because I felt that before, like I know I'm my father's son. I'm interracial. My dad's dark. My mom is a redhead. I get more of my mother's and grandfather's skin. Although I can tan pretty good sometimes, I guess. But like I totally see myself in my father, and when he gets like that, he's never terrified me at all. It's just like, ooh, I felt that, and I know this is my dad. Even when he's directing it at me. Too bad he doesn't know I'm Columbo and I'm playing him. Like, I always pretended to be scared, though. I did. Just to make him feel good about himself. But, my dad was in medical school. My dad was in medical school in Albuquerque. And he got chased out of there, right? And my whole life I was told that it was racism because my dad has dark skin. And like at the time that when he first started, he started wearing bell bottoms and he had an afro. Right, my dad, his hair is different than mine. It's thick and curly like a black man's, and he can grow an afro. Well, I've got my grandfather's German hair. Anyways, so that's what I kind of always believed. Yada yada yada, blah blah blah. But before he ceased being my father, he was telling me this story about when he was in medical school. And there was this debate that was happening. And the debate was about women in the workplace, right? And everybody agreed that women in the workplace was the best, right? But my father spoke up, and he said that Um, no. What about the children? What about the children? And again, my father's a traditional man. I don't believe with all that traditional garbage. I don't think a woman should be forced to stay in the kitchen if she doesn't want to, or stay in the home if she doesn't want to. Um, that wasn't the traditional way. The traditional way, they're talking about the traditional industrial way. That's what they're talking about. But the traditional way before this modern age was that men and women would be doing different crafts. They'd be growing food, they'd be making clothes, they'd be surviving on their own. We're looking at it through a narrow lens. But anyways, that's my dad. My dad, he's like, what about the children? So therefore, the women should stay home. And he argued that, and he said that they really tried to get him to change his ways, and he stuck to his guns. Right. Now, I recently talked to a doctor. He's kind of an asshole, but white guy, and he was basically at the university at the same time that my dad was, and I was telling him this story, and he's older than my dad, so he would have been maybe even faculty or something, there in some capacity, but I don't know. But he was offended by the idea that it was racism. Right, he was offended, and because my dad had told me this story before I met this guy, and once my dad told me this story, I thought, yeah, that makes total sense, right? Because a man of integrity within the medical field would be bad for profits, and so of course they would get men of integrity out. Like his skin color had nothing to do with it. My father was a man of integrity, and he stuck to his guns, his beliefs, even though they weren't popular. And that's very bad for profits. And so that's why I think my dad was kicked out of medical school, because I've been told these stories that he would write papers, and he would always receive a C, and his friend would write papers, and his friend would always receive an A. And so one day, the friend read my dad's paper, and he was like, wow, this is really good. Why are you getting a C? And so they decided to switch papers. So my dad would write it, and the friend would turn my dad's work in his name, and vice versa. And my dad still got a C, even though it was his friend's paper that always got A's. And his friend got not only an A, but oh my God, this is some of the best work you've ever done. So he was kicked out. He was chased out of medical school over in Albuquerque. And just imagine the horror one must feel. They're getting praised everywhere they go. Oh, doctor. Oh, it's a doctor. Oh, everybody, it's a doctor. It's a doctor. But imagine that none of this praise is actually real, and the horror one must feel.